Okay, great. Well, welcome to our webinar today. My name is Jennifer Hughes. I'm the head of customer success here at Hewitt, and we're going to go over the new integration rules and talk about why we developed this, and also we'll do a live demo and have some time for questions at the end. So first of all, as mentioned, my name is Jennifer Hughes. I'm the head of customer success. I've been with Hewitt for about 4 years. And I manage a team that we manage all of our customers in North and South America. I'm happy to work with all of our customers and glad that so many of you could join us today. I'll pass it to Johnny.
Hi, folks. My name is Johnny Packard. I'm a Principal Solutions Architect at Hewitt. I've been with Hewitt just over 6 years and primarily work with, a myriad of clients. If you have been through Hewitt or worked with Hewitt, you may have seen my name before. So I'll be doing a live demo of our product today. And also, we have a fantastic guest. I would like to introduce Adam Heleniak. Well, I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Adam.
Thank you, Johnny. My name is Adam Heleniak. I work as a senior UX manager at Hewitt. It's a part of the product team, so everything related to the Go Hewitt platform, everything related to what you actually interact if you are our customer. And in the product team, we are focusing a lot on the new functionality, new features, but we also have taken care of improvements of the existing functionality. And that's why I'm super excited to be here today, because this is exactly what we are talking about. We are talking about the improvement of the existing feature and giving it a kind of like a new life. So super happy to be here. Back to you, Jennifer.
Great. Well, I'm sure most of you who are here are current users of Hewitt, but I think we have a few guests that are still exploring Hewitt. So just to give you a 30-second experience, Hewitt is here to really power online trust. And we want to help our customers deliver fair experiences for all of their customers. And we do that through virtual waiting rooms. And so that makes the experience for your customers transparent, reliable, and really helps you during your peak demand time. So just a quick agenda for the day. We're going to go through, Adam's going to go through the integration rules, why we decided to do this, and some of the key features that we have with it. We'll then move to Johnny, who will do a live demo. We'll talk about how you can get early access to it. And also we'll have a Q&A at the end to go through any questions that you might have. And if you have questions as they're doing the demo and the overview, go ahead and put those in the chat. So as they come to your mind, you can jot them in there, and then we'll come back to those when we have the Q&A time. So happy to have you do that.
So I would like to introduce the new integration rules user interface today. But before I do it, I would like to start kind of from the beginning. And that means focusing on what the actual, what the integration rules is and what does it replace. So if we take the next slide, then yeah, so the integration rules is the replacement of our current functionality, which is which some of you might know if you are already our customers. It's called actions and triggers. We have, I mean, it's a functionality that has been around. It's working, but we knew that there is some room for improvement, and we saw that there are some things that we can improve and optimize. So what we decided to do is to say, let's take what is working and let's see how we can make it better. So, and that's already done. So now from January 2025, this is already a functionality that is available for all our new customers. So all the new customers that are getting on Hewitt are getting it right away. Everybody else will be migrated. That's something that we'll discuss at the end of the session. But how was it done? I mean, we didn't just jump straight to it and we decided, okay, that's how it's going to look like going forward. We started with some proper research on our existing feature, because there was already a lot of knowledge that we wanted to gather before we went into it. So first, we made the analysis of how the actions and triggers functionality is working currently. We saw that, I mean, actions and triggers is is kind of put in this menu in the Go platform, in the Go Qt platform as separate entities. So you have a list of actions, you have a list of triggers, and then we saw that the users quite a lot are jumping around between those different sections. So first they go to actions, then they go to triggers, then they go back to actions. You know, there was a lot of kind of jumping back and forth. So we saw that there's something about this workflow that could be optimized, it could be improved. We also looked at our current usage data to see how many triggers are there in the typical setup of our customers, how many actions people are creating, what types of triggers, what types of actions. This kind of collection of the insights helped us to see what are the typical use cases and see how we can improve it. For those customers who are maybe having small fraction of triggers and actions on the setup, but also for the people who have more complex setups on the platform. And I mean, we also are very curious to see what other companies, what other products are doing. So there are many similar functionalities out there which offer either automation or some conditional logic, like the if this then that. This is just one of the examples of the services that we looked at. So we gathered all this research, and then we thought, okay, let's start sketching, let's start designing. So we made this first iteration by starting with some sketches, starting with some kind of ideation of what it could look like. And then we made the first initial version of the design. So what you see on the screen, that was the first thing that we created, the thing on the right. But we decided not to start implementing it right away in the code, because of course that's like it's based on many assumptions, and we knew that we want to test it before we actually invest in it. So what we did, we went out to our user volunteers. We have a user panel that kind of has people who want to volunteer and help us in our work in the product. And we reached out and we asked them to help us test it. So we invited them for the individual sessions where we presented this design clickable prototype. So this is just a mock-up. It's not really it's not something functional. There's no code behind it. There's no functionality behind it, but it kind of represents the ideas. It represents the concepts of what this functionality would actually look like if it was implemented. And by doing that, by doing those tests, we have been able to gather a lot of insights straight from the people who are our user base. So that's like the best type of feedback that we want, because it helps us kind of see if we are on the right track or if there's something else that we should be focusing on. And the initial reaction of our users has been very good. Like everybody saw the benefits of it. Everybody saw that this is a big improvement. These are some of the quotes that we got. One of the users said that it's nice and clean. The other person said it's pretty well laid out. So we kind of knew that we are on the right track, and that this thing is actually going to work if we are implementing it for real in our product. Yeah. So I mean, the key takeaway here was that we answered kind of some of the needs that you have, and it helped us shape this user interface. So we are when we implemented this, now this integration rules will have kind of fewer like this. It will have less space for the errors, and it will become like a more smooth self-service experience for all of you. And by the way, since you're already there on the call, I would like to make a little announcement or a little advertisement, because we are constantly looking for more people to join our user panel. This is a way of like, this is a possibility for you to actually share the feedback, share the insights with our product team. It can help us make the Qt work better for you. So of course we are interested in improving it so that it works better for you on your busy day. So if you want to participate, you will be able to take part in some activities with us. It could be a survey, it could be a remote test. I mean, it's whenever you have time, and there's no like you decide if you want to participate or not. So there's no pressure. But that would be really, really cool if you join us in on this journey. There was a long story about what we have done and the whole why and so on. But I think that you might be very curious of what it is that actually we did with this. So what's new? That's what I'm going to present now. So the actions and triggers, as I said, in the workflow, in the current workflow, in the setup, it worked in the following way: that we had lists of actions on one side, lists of triggers on the other side, and then you had to kind of create them in separate lists. You had to connect it afterwards. It was a cumbersome process. So we decided to merge it together in this logical kind of if-then format. And if you go back one slide, I want to just share one more thing. So what you see on the screen is the trigger, and action is still there. Like, we are not removing it. We are just placing it in a bit different way, so they are more logically connected. So if you read the screen from top to the bottom, you see that first you create what are the conditions on when you should, as in this example, when you should put people in the queue. So if people are landing on a specific page, then put them in the queue. So this is kind of you make it like a step-by-step process here. And so once you create a rule, it lands on this overview page, and the overview page shows you all the different rules that you have specified. If you have multiple rules, they are being ordered here from 1, 2, 3, from top to the bottom, and you are able to see what are the different events, what are the different pages that you are protecting, and you are, which of those rules are going to be triggered. And if you look from the left to the right on a specific rule, for let's say the rule number 3, you can see that this is the rule that is called Product Launch 2025, and then it says if the URL contains a specific phrase, then queue these people using the waiting room launch event 25. So you can kind of logically read it from the left to the right. It's something that is more understandable for the users. We have also made an additional feature. It might look like a little thing, like this thing on the right, this little switch. It's activation and deactivation of a specific rule. We know for the fact that some of you might want to keep the rules in your setup, either for the future reference, or maybe there's some way of documenting what has happened during an event. So you don't want to remove that thing, but you still don't want to be you don't want it to be active anymore. So by having this activation switch, we are making it possible for you to keep the rule here in the setup, but make it kind of what it says. I mean, it's not going to be active anymore. So in this way, it's easier, it's more flexible for you to arrange your rules. If you have a setup containing a long list of rules, then in our current way of doing that in the actions and triggers, it is actually quite cumbersome to kind of put it up and down, like in order to reorder them. So now we are introducing a drag and drop functionality that enables you to easily and freely move those rules around, so that the order kind of makes sense. Yes, if you want to make a copy of an event. So let's imagine a situation where you have an event that is happening in different countries, and you have maybe different waiting rooms for different geographical areas. It's easy for you to make a duplicates of the same rule. So if you have made one and you just want to kind of copy and modify each of the rules, then there's this duplicate functionality that allows you to do that easily. Yeah, there's a little enhancement on top of all of that we call a double queue exemption. We know that queuing is not something that your visitors might appreciate. I mean, they will be happy waiting once, but they might be very unhappy if they are put in the queues multiple times. So we want to avoid that, and we want to avoid the situation that the users in their user journey are queued multiple times. So we are adding this double queue exemptions that makes it possible for you to specify when the queue should actually kick in, but also when it should kind of make this exception. So if you read this screen over here, this says that you should queue the people in the launch event 25, but you should make an exception for people who have already been waiting in the other waiting room. So if the person has been sitting in the April sales, they will not be put in the launch event 25. So that's kind of making it possible for you to decide, that people should not be queued more than once. And that's a visualization of precisely that. So if you look at this little visual representation here, the visitor B, if the visitor B has been waiting in the virtual waiting room for the special sale landing page, they have been put once in the waiting room. You don't want to queue them again for the payment queue. You want them to kind of skip this and go straight to the checkout. So that's what it does in a short. That's a short description of that. Yes. So to summarize, all the ideas and the thoughts behind it, we really wanted to care for the user experience of everybody who's setting up those actions and triggers on the GoQueue platform, because we know that you need a cleaner overview of what is happening for all the new users who are coming to the GoQueue platform, but also for the more advanced people who are coming back. We know that setting up and editing existing rules, actions and triggers maybe it was not the easiest thing on the platform. So we wanted to make it more intuitive and more kind of clean for you to look at. By adding the activation and deactivation and drag and drop functionality, we also give you more control and flexibility. So it's faster. You come in, you make the decisions that you want, and then you move to other tasks that you have. So you don't have to spend too much time on the cumbersome work. Yes, and that was I think the summary of what I wanted to share with you. And now I will pass the word to Johnny, who will actually make a live demo of the integration rules. So Johnny, please take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much, Adam. Bear with me one moment here while I share my screen. All righty, folks. So we are looking at the GoQueue platform. For those of you who are familiar with Queue, this is our self-service platform where customers can create, manage, monitor, maintain their waiting rooms. So I have two waiting rooms that I have configured, a 24/7 visible peak that my website has running all the time. If traffic peaks exceed my threshold, users will see the queue. I have an upcoming scheduled product drop, so I need to create a new configuration for that. So I will go to the integration rules menu here, and we'll see that I've already got a few rules. That's going to take me a moment to figure out to switch to rules from actions and triggers. However, I've got a few rules already created here. So I've got an ignore rule, a queue for my 24/7 visible at peak safety net, and then a cancel after purchase. So I can already see that this cancel is positioned at the bottom. So I'm going to move that to the very top because I want my customers, when they go through my waiting rooms, if they get to the confirmation page, we can cancel that token, push them right back into the queue. I've already got an ignore rule set up. So if the URL path contains /confirmation, I'm going to cancel. Oh, wait one moment here. If the URL does not contain checkout, and let's just expand this a little bit. Oh, my Zoom window's getting in the way. Let's take a look at that rule. So if the page URL does not contain checkout, and the user agent contains any of the 39 items in this list, we have our default good box rule defined in this rule. So I've applied that, and we have set that to an ignore. So that's already configured. What I'll need to do is create a new integration rule for my, bear with me one moment, I've got Adam's space in the window now. We'll need to create a new rule for that scheduled upcoming product drop. So I'm going to call this scheduled product drop. Now, if the page path contains, and I've got my value here. So this is quite a long string. So I'm going to want to separate this out a little bit, and you'll see that I already have a query string or a query operator in there. So I'm going to separate this out so Qt can prepend all of our necessary information when that request comes back. And I'm going to separate this back to, bear with me one moment here. Let's click new condition because I want to add additional logic. If the page URL and not page path, because after that query operator, this is the page URL. So I'll create that. And let's separate that out one more time. Now this is already getting to be a lot, so let's change that contains to a contains any. You'll see that we still have many or all of the same operators that you may be familiar with. If you're not familiar, Qt offers a massive amount of configuration and customization. So we really want to help you queue what needs to be queued and ignore what doesn't. So we're going to say contains any, and now I'll add these values to this list. And I'll say cat equals, I can't remember that number. We'll change that afterward. Bear with me one moment here. And fingers hit the wrong button. All righty. So we'll scroll down here. That's it for the conditions. Now we'll see that I want to queue users here. If I wanted to assign this to an ignore logic or cancel logic, I could, but we want to queue users on that. So we'll say the IR demo is the waiting room we need to queue users on. Now, you'll notice that I've had, except for users who've already queued in. So I don't want to apply this to my scheduled waiting room. However, we'll want to take a look at our safety net or 24/7 visible at peak waiting room to ensure that users who don't, or users who come through my scheduled waiting room are not queued again in the safety net room. So we'll go to the configurations, and I have a custom queue configuration. So I've set custom cookie domain on the Apex domain, johnnyp.dev. Because I have subdomains, I want to ensure that I'm covering all areas of my website with the Qt cookie. Taking a look at the advanced settings, I could override the theme on the waiting room to show different product, different views, different user experiences based on the information that sent the user to the queue. But for now, this isn't all encompassing, so I won't need to add any of these. Great to know that I have the option though. The redirect logic, I'll leave as the default origin because I want those users to go right back to where they came from. So we can save this rule. And let's do some positioning. And before we do that, let's check that 24/7 visible at people. Because we really want to apply that except for visitors who have already queued in the upcoming waiting room. Now that that's applied, I want to position the 24/7 visible at peak at the bottom, the scheduled product drop above that, because these rules will continue to operate in order, evaluate in order. So we've got drag and drop for that, as you've seen. All of these are activated. I'm going to leave them as activated. When my waiting room is done, I can go ahead and deactivate if needed, or remove altogether. We also have the option to duplicate rules, which as someone who sets up a lot of integration rules, actions, triggers, waiting rooms for customers, I'm very excited about this functionality. So thank you, Adam, already. You'll see I have changes that are staged for publishing. So that will take me to the integration overview page. And I'll publish now. And I'll need to provide a short message. Created new rules for scheduled waiting room. Oh. There we go. Love typing when people are watching. That's always easy for everyone, right? All right. So we pushed that to my config, and now I'm all set. So integration rules, just wanted a quick touch back. As Adam mentioned, as we've seen with the demo, they are logical, they flow in order, and they're very readable. So no more going between multiple pages. Everything is self-contained. As an avid user of Go, Adam, again, thank you. Back to Jennifer.
Yeah, great.
There we go.
Yeah. So as Adam mentioned earlier, we have been rolling this out to any customers who joined Hewitt since January of 2025. So this is actively in production, and but we do have the ability for you to have early access to it. We'll start rolling it out to existing customers. We'll have a more stage plan for that. But if you want to get in on it sooner, we can certainly help you with that. You can just reach out to your customer success manager, and we'll set up a call with one of our technical engagement teams, our principal architect, and work to get that set up for you. And so then we'll move to our Q&A part. So does activate, deactivate require a republish?
Great question, and yes, it will. Because that logic is affecting the integration configuration file, or I'm sorry, the integration configuration JSON file. Activate, deactivate will require a publish, as will reordering of the new rules.
Okay, and will there have to be API changes to make this work? And have we documented that?
At present, we do not have full support for API yet with integration rules, as this is very new and still coming out. However, look forward to full integration or API support in the future.
Yeah, it seems like with any new feature, API is always step 2 when we release something. So likely to have it, shortly after we get more people using integration rules.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
It's an important piece. So
absolutely, yeah. A lot of our large customers certainly use that. Yes.
Oh, let's take a look here. Yes. Okay. So since the actions and triggers are combined on a single screen, would you recommend creating the waiting room first, then doing the triggers and actions? Yes. So as you'll notice when you get into the integration rules menu, you'll need to create a waiting room first before you can create integration rules, because those rules are tied to your existing waiting rooms. So first, with your flow, when you're in the Go Hewitt platform, I would recommend going to your waiting rooms configuration page, then manage waiting rooms menu, and then integration rules from there.
On the other hand, though, I mean, it has some level of flexibility, right? Because you could also make a draft of an integration rule, make it deactivated, and then go and create a waiting room. Of course, then you would need to kind of jump around a bit between the pages. So if you by chance go to integration rules first and create the integration rule first, it's not really a big deal. You can still save it and then attach the right waiting room afterwards. So it's not, it wouldn't be a mistake if you did the opposite.
For those users who have a limit on number of actions and triggers, does this apply to new integration rules? I'm not aware of any limitations that Hewitt would impose on number of actions, triggers, configuration. if the configuration file is quite hard to make, but
Yeah.
Kiewit
We do
will-
have limitations on traffic access rules, so maybe
Yes.
that's the confusion point. The traffic access rules for basic is 10 traffic access rules and premium's 100, so that's a big
Yep.
difference. But triggers and actions is unlimited.
integration rules.
Or-
Yeah, no. So two different rules here.
Yeah.
But that's great that you point that out, because traffic access rules, there is a limit. However, integration rules, there's no limit. Great question. Alrighty. What is the timeline on API support? Look forward to communication from your customer success manager or product teams in the future for that. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer.
Not today. We don't have that today,
Yeah.
right now.
But thank you for asking. Our current workflow on our SFCC site is to simply drop the Kiewit config JSON into our site config. With the changes, would this workflow still work, or would we need to reintegrate on our site? Great question. So, integration rules, it is still the JSON, the same JSON that you're using with actions and triggers, so it will work. However, we'll want to talk with your customer success manager or technical engagement manager to ensure that your integration supports the integration rules. So I would check with your TEM or your solutions architect to make sure first. Yeah. All right. Integration rules would replace the current setup. So will integration rules replace my current setup or run alongside it? It would replace all of the actions, triggers, configuration logic that is currently set up.
Mhm.
So it's a totally new change in the UI. Yep. Is it possible to prioritize one rule over another? Another fantastic question.
Let's have Adam answer.
Yeah, Adam. Is it possible to
Yes.
prioritize one rule over another?
It is possible to prioritize one rule over another, and that's the whole point of the ordering, right? That the ordering matters. What comes first is being checked by the system first. So if you have the first rule and is already getting triggered, then the system will not go further. So that's why the ordering. That's why we decided to work on the drag and drop reordering feature, because we knew that it is an important step in setting up your integration rules. Yeah, great question.
Yep. Positioning definitely matters.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you, Adam, for your presentation. Thank you, Johnny, for
Thank you.
the demo and all the questions. We really
Thank you,
appreciate
Jennifer.
appreciate everybody who attended today. But if you have more questions, reach your customer success manager or anyone that you know at Kiewit, and we're always willing to help you out. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you very much.